Welcome back, everyone, to the Soft Talk Hard Truths podcast, where healing is quiet, honesty is gentle, and growth, as always, is non-negotiable. I am your co-host Jay,
Hey y'all, I'm Shay.
and like I said before, welcome back. Uh, feel like we haven't seen y'all in a while, so it's good to be back on the mic.
It sure is. Yep. Forward to today.
Yes. What do you say, Shay? How you doing?
I'm all right. I told you I've been sick, had some crazy virus, so I'm still. It turned into a sinus infection, and so sinus infections are just difficult. They make you tired. You don't have a lot of energy. You have all that sinus pressure stuff and all. So I'm just trying to come through over on the other side. How about?
I'm doing all right. I guess, kind of how we said at the jump. Hope you feel better. Hope you get to back to full strength. But I'm doing all right. Can't complain. I mean, I could complain, but no one's gonna do anything about it, so I don't complain.
Exactly. Exactly. It's the way it works. Yep.
Yeah, it's like it's funny when people say can't complain. No, you could complain, just that nobody gives a shit because we all have our we all have our own stuff. So.
Exactly. But you could definitely complain.
Yeah. Um, But yeah, you just gotta keep on moving. Kind of how you said before, life be life,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of how it is. It's interesting because, um, like I feel like the important or yeah, kind of the important women in my life have all been sick the last few weeks,
Hmm.
and I don't know what that's about. Yeah,
That's funny.
like my mom was sick
Wow.
last week. My co-host Shay has been sick. My friend Kim out in Oklahoma, she been sick last couple of weeks. She was like, "It's you." I'm like, "Damn, what I do?" You know?
Because it's been rough. It
Yeah.
has been rough. There is like, you know what though? It's funny because like people will say you can, even if you look on social media, if that's like how you see people from different parts of the world or the country, you'll see people saying, "Oh, there's something going around," and they might be on the other side of the country. It's just like because when it happens, it just happens, and so you'll see all of a sudden there's people from everywhere just having some type of virus going on, and everybody's getting sick. So as soon as somebody says they're sick, it's like, "Oh yeah." This one is sick or that one is sick or what have you. It's just how it is, especially February, late January, February.
This is why I stay home. I try to stay home because too much stuff going on out there. Although I I did I did catch COVID by staying home because my neighbor is just my former neighbor. It was a nasty ass. That was not fun.
No.
No, because it's like you do everything right, you don't go anywhere, and you still get COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and you can't put hands on them because the police frown on that sort of thing. Um, so you just have to be like, listen, can you like close your vents and stuff yourself in vitamin C and stuff like that,
Yeah.
So it was a very trying like couple of weeks, but we here now. We're here now.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. As long as we make it
Yeah.
out on the other side, it's rough. It's rough when you're going through it, and COVID is rough.
Yeah.
COVID is rough.
So
I've had COVID twice now.
oh
Since
man.
it came around. So none of which was ever my fault. It was brought to me too. So I understand the whole ordeal. People think, "Oh, you work in healthcare, right?" So of course, like if I got COVID because I'm from work. Nope, because I wear a mask and I wear gloves.
Huh. Yeah. I don't know. I just try to stay healthy, stay hydrated, and stay moisturized. Speaking of which,
Is that
hydration.
the cherry one? Is that the cherry one you have there?
Yes, this is a cherry. I love the cherry.
Okay.
Bye. Talk to your boy and your girl.
Come on,
But
try.
yes, I think it's that Zambia being cherry. I love it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do the cherry one. The one I have right now is the right now I have a strawberry.
The strawberry is good as well. They got a couple of. I think they got a couple of watermelons and a couple of strawberries. But there's also like a strawberry lemonade, which I like. There's like a strawberry lime. Um,
Yep.
I think there's one like endorsed by Sydney Sweeney, which is the only thing that I like from Sydney Sweeney. Um, yeah, it's pretty good. um, so I stay hydrated and stay moisturized. Get that Carrie Shea butter.
Come on
Carrie, talk
now,
to your boy, talk to your
Carrie.
girl.
Come on now.
Yeah, man.
We
Been
got
using
it
that since
for
I was.
you.
Yeah, I feel like Carrie is like, I don't know, I may be wrong, but I feel like it's one of the black household staples. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
that and like maybe Jergens. I don't
I was
know,
gonna say
but
the other one's gonna be Jergens.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Carrie or
'cause
Jergens.
I've been using Carrie since I was like, I don't know, two. I just always remember a bottle of Carrie being somewhere in the house.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's certain stuff we just always like we always have, we always use. It's a staple in our household.
So yeah, I guess that kind of is our Black History Month tidbit. I didn't realize we
There
were
you go.
going there.
That's what
But
we're
yeah,
doing. That's what we're doing.
that's what we do.
That's
All o- all over the place. That's how we do it. Try to touch on a little bit of everything because it is February, Black History Month, so we talk about what's going on in Black households.
Mm-hmm.
That's my story. I'm sticking to
That's right.
it.
That's right.
Yes, but speaking of stories, today's story topic is the difference between being quiet and being disconnected, and just something that if you're more on the introvert side or just a quiet person in general, um, I feel like you've been uh, accused at some point of being disengaged, disconnected, distant, when really you're just being quiet. Um, and I think there really is a difference. Curious to know how you feel on the shade, but I to me, being quiet is more of a personality trait, whereas like disconnecting or disconnection is more. Maybe it's not. It may not be active, can be passive, but it's still more of like a pattern of behavior, I guess, or even like a response to certain things. But um, they do. I can admit that they do kind of they can kind of overlap and they do seem similar, but I do think that being quiet is more of a personality, whereas disconnecting is more of a pattern of behavior.
Yeah, yeah. I told you I had some good notes for today. So this is so what I come up with is like I think that when you are quiet, people assume you're distant, right? But for me, quiet is like internal processing, right? Reflection, observance before I respond. You know, quiet. I still feel deeply, but I don't perform it loudly. So it's like there's a difference. Processing it in layers. Disconnected is, I feel like if I was disconnected, that's me when I'm more shut down, right? That's more like when I'm numb, when I'm not feeling as much. Not because I want to be quiet, right? Because there's a difference, but because it just maybe feels safer, you know. So I think there's a difference. I always felt like there was a difference, but I think there's an assumption for people to say if someone is quiet, right away you're disconnected because you're quiet, but they're not the same.
Yeah, I 1000%. I agree. I definitely remember coming up, me personally being or having people say, hey, you're so distant, or you're people actually use the word disconnected. And I'm like, I'm not, I guess, I'm quiet, but I'm also tuned in. I'm observing everything that's going on. I don't necessarily feel the need to comment on everything that's that's going on. Um, but I'm aware. I'm connected, kind of in that way. Like if you ask me something, like I'll respond to it. Um, this typically happened to me in school because, like, I guess I just looked like I wasn't interested or couldn't be bothered. I guess. I guess I have I have a resting introvert face. I guess. So people will look at me thinking that I'm not engaged and then ask me a question, then I answer that shit perfectly. Um, it can be it can be annoying, but I'm just a quiet person. Um, when I've disconnected from something or someone or a situation, that's typically been um, as a result, excuse me, as a result of wanting to feel safe and being in, whether that's emotionally, physically, uh, any sort of safe feeling. That's where I can remember, or I can recall uh, disengaging, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard, particularly when you're younger, to really articulate that. So it does come off, unfortunately, as disconnecting or being rude, distant and whatnot. Because I mean, like, how many 5-year-olds under have the wherewithal to say, "Hey, I don't. This person makes me feel unsafe in this particular way. I'm going to disengage." Like I've never said that sentence
Right.
when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old.
Right.
It's like
Right. Didn't get
I
there.
don't. Yeah, I didn't get there. Like all those words were definitely in my vocabulary, just not in that order at any point in time.
Right.
It's
Yeah, not
like,
understanding to put them in said order. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
yeah, like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, like every time I've disconnected, it's definitely been, um, for me at least, the result of not feeling as safe in whatever capacity as I would have wanted, or as I feel I should feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I was saying. It's like, if I'm disconnecting, it's because it feels safer to me. That feels like the safe place for me to be than to engage with whatever the situation is that takes place. Quiet is my resting place. So there's a difference. I mean, and most of the time, if you talk to people, most people that I know that are quiet think a lot, and so they usually, I mean, if you can get them in a conversation that they're interested in, right, that they want to engage in, you can have a pretty decent conversation. They have some pretty decent facts. Typically, it's like, stuff that maybe other folks don't know. It doesn't mean that they don't have feelings, because they definitely have feelings. Most of the time, they have pretty deep feelings. Everything just isn't about a performance of what you have going on, and just being quiet is where you feel safer. And you don't know how somebody got quiet, because I think there's different ways. I think some of us were born, as just quiet people, and we've just always been that way our whole lives. Some people perhaps got a little bit more quiet and reserved from situations that they were exposed to, or being a person that wasn't so quiet, or being more outspoken, and maybe the responses that they got or the treatment that they received from certain people. Maybe it was people that were monumental in their life, or, a situation that was very detrimental. So you just don't know. It's not just one little package you put the pretty bow on it and say, this is what it is.
Yeah, that's actually an excellent point, because you're right. It's definitely something that a lot of folks, a lot of people, we don't talk about. Um, some people are, like you said, some people are born quiet, but yeah, sometimes something happens, some trauma happens, and that happy-go-lucky person is not quiet all of a sudden. Is very reserved. I think we definitely need to allow more grace for that. Um, I think it would help.
Mhm.
But it kind of it definitely speaks to, or partly speaks to, um, why people confuse the two, quietness and disconnection, because they can look similar. They can overlap. They kind of are parallel, but you know introverts, or even just people who are quiet. I don't want to lump all introverts into the same category, or the same pattern, but we typically recharge alone. Um, some people can interpret that as rejection. For some reason, being quiet is seen as rejecting somebody or rejecting something.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where I guess the loudest person in the room uh, gets the attention, or or is rewarded, or seen as, like, the standout guy, and that's not always
Mhm.
the case
Mhm.
at all.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think a lot of times people just they see someone being quiet, or just not choosing not to engage, and they look at that, or they take that as rejection, as opposed to just understanding that this person may just be quiet. Uh, I personally think that a lot of people project stuff onto quiet quiet folks,
Mhm.
instead of looking inward. Um, Maybe you should look inward. Maybe you just don't feel like talking to you. Maybe there's something about you that you don't want to engage with.
Mhm.
I know it's hard. It doesn't feel good, but sometimes that's the case. Um, because there's people who I just don't feel the need to talk to, but there are other people, when I get around, we talking for 5-6 hours.
Right. Correct. Correct. That is
You know?
a big point.
Yeah. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's you.
Yeah, it could be. It's very hard for people to accept and understand that. I think because people think it's a flaw, and sometimes it's not even. Sometimes it doesn't even mean it's a flaw in that other person, right? So like maybe the personalities just don't mesh well, right? Maybe it's just, I mean, because everybody has, you choose to engage, to hang around, to have frequent discussions with people that you find things that you share similarities, right? So I don't care what it is, if it's sports, if it's music, if it's art, if it's politics, if it's comedy, whatever it is, like you have something, that you guys gravitate towards each other for. And then there are certain people that we all know, right? That we might have been around a certain type of person, or, a certain individual that has qualities that you don't particularly care for. You don't enjoy conversations with that person. Maybe you've had conversations before that you found to be unpleasant. So you choose not to want to revisit it. You know, these things matter too, right? So that would mean that yes, it's that's still you, right? It's like it's something in you that I'm choosing not to engage with. And if somebody felt the same way on the other side, that's fine too.
Yeah. Exactly. The world would be a better place if we all kind of understood that. What are you gonna do? Uh, this does remind me, because I definitely bumped up against this, when I was first starting my work life. For first few years out of school, um, trying to navigate people, really. This has always been a challenge. But I remember, like, getting to, not understanding why I'm so quiet, or being accused of not being a team player, or again always being disconnected. That word has come up several times during my career. I had a coworker ask me straight out, Jay, do you talk ever? And I'm like, yeah, I do, just when I have something to say. um, uh, One of my former boss, who actually ended up being a great mentor to me and now one of my good friends. Um, he didn't think that I cared because I'm a very laid back person, but almost again I'm a very quiet person. Like he actually he asked my direct manager, like, does Jay care? She's like, yeah, he does. He's just a quiet dude. Like he'll talk when he has something to say, but he's definitely like one of the most engaged people on the team. He's just not um a very demonstrative person. So I think once he learned that or took the time to understand that, we became cool. Uh, I actually wish more people like took that approach. Because I've seen it go that way. I've seen it go the total like opposite direction. Up to somebody accusing me of being racist because I was quiet.
Wow.
Um, yeah, story time with people. Story time. Grab, get you a swig, cup of squat. we go. We going. Jay got a story to tell.
Be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one. So when I was probably my second or third year out of school, I was actually working in the healthcare industry of all places. I was a buyer for a surgical center. Um, don't need to get into the name of it. Doesn't matter. But it was a, it was but a surgical center. And again, I'm a quiet person. I just want to go in, do my job, and go home. Wasn't really there for the chit chat. Even to this day, I'm not really there for the chit chat. Although I am more, I guess, outgoing presenting now that I understand kind of the importance of at least appearing that way. But before, just want to show up, do my job. There are a couple people that I did speak with because they were just cool people, but also they didn't like force a conversation. Like they understood that I was quiet, talk when I want to talk when I have something to say. I will point out that those two people were black. Very important to the story. As we're progressing into the story, there are some other folks who are non-black. I thought we were cool or we just got along. They said hey, I said hey, and they asked me a question about like my weekend, gave them a general answer. Not really there for the small talk. Just go about my business. But I've been there probably, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 months, and one of my black coworkers that I was cool with, um, came up to me and asked, "Hey, do you got a problem with, let's call her Christina? Do you got a problem with Christina?" And I was like, "Nah, why?" And she said she thinks that you don't like white people because she tried to talk to you and you don't talk you don't talk to her. And
Really?
I looked at it, yeah, and like I looked and I recall like um a half hour earlier she had like kind of like not cornering me but like was trying to like talk and just have a conversation. Again, I wasn't rude, I wasn't dismissive. I just I'm working. I'm like I'm not really here uh for the chit chat. So I just kept it short, kept it brief, and kept it moving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kind of how I do 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we get on something that's of interest, or I happen to have a space where I can chat for a couple minutes. But typically, in that job, I'm moving. I'm always moving because surgery. You got surgery is going on at the same time, any
Right,
given
right,
time.
right.
So surgeries need, you know, dozens and dozens and dozens of items, stopcocks and saline and tubes and just, bed sheets and packs and gloves and masks, and they get used, sutures, and they get used during the day. So I'm going back and forth, making sure that they're stocked up so that you don't have a nurse or a tech or, running back and forth in the middle of a surgery because they ran out of gauze, and they got to run all the way back to the
Right,
to the stock room, and then run all the way back. But they can't just go back because now they're not sterilized, so they probably got to change their clothes or change something, and then go back in there. And this person's been under anesthesia for like an hour, and you can't keep people under anesthesia for a certain amount of time, depending on the person, because it's not good for them. So people are waiting for this one thing, and they can really f up a surgery. Not to mention doctors, surgeons. Some of them are not the nicest people in the world. So they're yelling at the tech, or they yell at the nurse. So they're frazzled. So what do? Take it out on somebody else. on
right.
somebody else.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
That's the way it
Yes.
works.
Not.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Look, not one medical class. I see this just had nothing to do with actual medicine.
Yeah.
Just see how things are.
Mm-hmm.
Just if you don't have a mask, someone's flipping their lid because they got, and I get it, because it's a very sensitive position that somebody is in, surgery, and it's like you're not supposed to like be open like that for an extended period of time.
Right.
It doesn't matter how sterilized,
No.
how clean the room is. Like,
Correct. Yeah.
like we're not supposed to have
Yeah.
our innards exposed. That's why they're innards,
Yeah.
not outwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes, it's all serious business. It really is like
it's serious business. It really is. So, like, I say all that to say, me just getting these supplies, making sure we have things there, it may not get the glory as a surgeon, but it's important, because they don't have their stuff, they're screwed. And you don't want to be the one responsible for them having to either not being able to do a surgery, or even worse, having to cancel that shit in the middle of the surgery.
definitely don't want to be that person.
Yeah. Okay. So I took that to heart, and I'm on my feet back and forth, making sure they got everything they need
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 times a day. I'm ordering stuff. I'm basically in charge of buying stuff, making sure they have everything they need, making sure they have more than they need. Trying to keep stock of hundreds of items. I'm not here for
Good
the
job.
chit chat. Yeah, like I literally am not here for the chit chat unless it has something to do about what you need for the surgery. So apparently that offended Christine, because maybe she saw me like on a break or some downtime talking to my friend, and figured, oh well, he's talking to this black person, but he don't talk to me like that, so clearly he don't like white people. So I told my friend, like, nah, like, honestly, I don't even consider. She's not even anywhere near like what I'm concerning myself with. I'm just here doing my job. Like, I don't got time for that shit. And like, I had to catch myself, because I didn't want to take it out on her.
Yeah.
But it was like one of those things, like, I don't have time for this shit, and I really wish you hadn't brought this to me.
Yeah.
At the same time, we're coworkers. I've only been there a few months. She never had she didn't know that. So it's like, but fine. So I tell her, listen, first off, I ain't really that friendly and close with anyone. I'm here to do my job, and that's it. I ain't really here for the chit chat. She understood, and I guess she told Christine, because like 10 minutes or 5 minutes after that, here she comes in. Well, I guess I'm just going to keep talking to you till you talk, and I'm like, okay, just learn
Okay.
nothing.
Yeah. Right.
and just
Right?
feel entitled, but then just feel entitled to act a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so that was it, but it was interesting. I'm like, okay, apparently, doing your job, not bothering people, bothers people. Apparently, you get accused of being racist if you don't talk to white people because you're doing your job. Uh, you
That's
know,
I think that's interesting though.
yeah. But if it's like if I was always just up and down talking to everybody, what would have happened? Like I probably would have got dinged for that because Jay's always yapping.
Right.
You know?
Especially if something went wrong, especially if something was short somewhere or something like that, it would be because you always talking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Talk too much, It's like, oh, he talks too much. If he wasn't talking so much, then we could have our supplies. So yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. In that way, like I'm accused of being disconnected in a sense, but like nah, I'm just a quiet person. Um, but since we're talking about medical field, last second story time. Uh, I like I like telling stories. I'm very good at it. I like to think so anyway. But
Then that's all that matters when it's all said and
no,
done.
that's all that matters. I think I am. Go argue with your pappy.
That's funny.
But so I was working. So this center is part of like an overall a larger hospital system. Um, and like there's a buyer team and doctors and work for the hospital, and then in the center I guess is like it's sort of its own offshoot, its own business. But it's still part of the hospital. I get called into a meeting in the main hospital. Um, and I get there and it's like department directors, procurement director, some other buyers, so like higher ups are in this meeting, and I'm like, what's going on? So I think I forget if she's like one of the head nurses or whatever. But I forget her position, but she starts talking, and I guess in the main hospital, um, there was a surgery, and something happened. I guess they didn't have some item that they needed, and this they found out um well into the operation. So the patient has been under for like a while, and I guess they're scrambling and trying to get whatever it is they need. Meanwhile, the patient is still under, and like I said before, like you're not supposed to be under past a certain amount of time because that thing can happen. So they finally got what they needed. They were able to continue the surgery. Everything kind of went well, thankfully. But I remember her saying like, "This is the shit that cannot happen." Like, and she was dead serious. Um, and one, I was happy like it wasn't me.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yep, that's the
selfishly,
first thing.
I like thank God it didn't me. And I'm pretty sure other people probably felt the same way. But it's still it kind of reflected on the department in a way, because it's not just us procuring things that they need; it's making sure that it's there where it's getting it, and then making sure it's where it has to be when it has to be there. So yeah, I bought all these med packs, but if it's still it doesn't do any good if it's just in the stock room. It has to be in the stock room and in each of the operating rooms, or at least in the little cart right outside the door, so that they're not running to get these things. Like it's like it's not it's not just procurement, this logistics and making sure things are where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be. So I think like that part was the issue. What they needed wasn't where it's supposed to be. So they're thinking that, you know, if I don't see it, we don't have it.
Right.
So I guess the buyer in charge had to run to the stock room and get this thing. Again, you know, we had plenty of stock, but not the point. It's supposed to be where it's supposed
It
to
has
be.
to be accessible.
Exactly, because like no doctor, no nurse, no tech, like they're not, and you know they shouldn't. Like that's not their realm. They're in charge of the operating room in that space. Like they, you know, if I'm buried under 5 boxes or whatever, sure, they may, you know, they want to help me out, cool, but it ain't their job to keep running back and forth between stockroom and the OR. So yeah, that that was not a fun meeting, but I'm happy it wasn't me.
Yep. That's the point.
Yep. So 2 stories for the price of one, folks.
You always get a story, right? You always get some good stories, some good info. Good info.
Yeah, it's interesting being in that industry. I've worked in that industry for probably maybe 2.5 years. For me, it was not fun. Just it's just, but it had more to do with the people that I dealt with as opposed to the actual job itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like the job was cool.
Always the people.
Yeah, it's always the people.
Always the people.
You know, it taught me because that's also kind of where I was getting an inkling of, you know, understanding that people can be very draining. Because like I would get home and I'm like, why am I so tired? Why am I so drained? Like, why do I not look forward to going into work every week? Like every Sunday, I get depressed, and it's not the job.
No. No.
It's these motherfuckers.
Yep. Yep. That's what it is. Hands down. Every single time. Every single time.
It's these people.
Mm-hmm.
So like I realized that, you know, I'm being accused of not talking, not being engaged, by my boss, and I'm like, listen, you know, everything that I guess that my boss is telling me, I'm not hearing anything having to do with me actually doing my job.
Right.
Uh, and you know, and she was like, well, this kind of will fall under customer service. I'm like, okay, fair. But at the same time, I'm going to talk when I have something to say. Like I won't be rude. Um, but we're not having like the types of conversations that they want. That's just not me, and it has nothing to do with my job. And honestly, it takes away from my job. Because from talking to you, I'm not doing what I have to do. Like, like, you know, you may be on break, but I'm not. Like, we're not. It's like when you're on break, I'm in the ORs stocking, making sure you have stuff. But when you get off your break in the next case, you have what you need.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't all have free time at this time. Yeah, just because you're free right now doesn't mean I am. I have something I'm
Yeah,
doing.
exactly. But you know, I took that to heart, and I said, okay, you know how I'm a quiet person. You know, how do I at least not come off as as disconnected or distant? And it was hard, but you know, I learned at least how to make basic small talk. Um, you know, I worked to kind of show up, I guess, in certain ways that showed them that, um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that showed them like I'm, you know, that demonstrated obviously, conspicuously that I'm paying attention to what
Right.
their needs are.
Right.
So like I would again it's really just doing my job, but it's like pointing out that hey, I know that you like this stopcock right here. I know that you like the sutures right here or in its order. I did that. Just saying, hey, I got like I noticed that on the chart it says you use 5, but you typically use 7, so I'm gonna just throw 7 here just in case, just like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and at first it was hard because I'm like, I don't like these motherfuckers, but hey, it's like you have to get past, you're getting past
That's what we all gotta get
that.
past. That's what we gotta get past.
Yeah, gotta get past. Because it was like, I do care about the job, and like that part really bothers me because like they're thinking that I don't because I don't care to engage with them, I must not care about the job as a whole. That part bothers me.
Two separate things.
Two separate things, but unfortunately, being being young, being a young black man in that particular setting, it's my word against this nurse or this tech that's been here for 10 years. Like I'm not going to win that fight. So all I can do is all I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's but you know I say all this to say that there are ways just to try to show up and try to show that you're not disconnected. You're just quiet.
Yep. Because there's a difference.
Big difference.
Yeah, there's a difference. It's fun. The thing, like, people have a preconceived notion of quiet, but what quiet looks like in like everyday real life is like, you're the person that's at a gathering, um, but you're not really you're doing most of the listening, right? Not the talking, but you're 100% aware of what's going on in the room, right? You're engaged. I guess it's more of an internal engagement, than what other people would like for most people to do, which is be doing all the talking and, I guess be a little more performative in your engagement. But like if I was someplace and I'm totally disconnected, which I have been before, so now I'm there, I'm physically present, but emotionally I'm checked out 100%. 100%. I'm like, what time is this over? When do we leave? Have I been thinking in my head? Have I been here long enough so I can check out? Like that's a whole different thing to me. Like me being there and just being quiet and stuff. That's my norm. But me definitely being like, no, yeah, I'm just a shell that's sitting here.
Yeah. And again, it I think the problem lies in that they do look similar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Mm-hmm. They do. They do.
they do.
Yeah, they do. You got to dig a little bit, you dig a little bit deeper sometimes to see the difference, honestly.
Yeah, and shout out to the people who take the time to do that. Like they understand that, um, kind of how you said there's engagement, there's like performative engagement, which I don't think is really engagement, it's just performance, but people see it as engagement. Um, just they're quietly engaged. Like you said, just peeping out, scoping out everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
When there's a need or opportunity to chime in, I'll chime in. Otherwise, just keep to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's definitely my kind of engagement. Just to kind of just silently watch folks. You know, I understand that's not everyone's cup of tea. Just like being at the forefront ain't my cup of tea. But I guess what sometimes bothers me is like I'm a big proponent of letting people be themselves. So I kind of expect that in return.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that's not always going to be the case. Cool. That's fine. Just watch your mouth.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because it's always, it's one thing to ask, hey, you okay? You seem distant, seem whatever, but there's always a person who like gets offended or gets just real disrespectful for lack of a better term. And they actually start getting on you. And it's like, you don't know a goddamn thing about me. I'm just chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Like, if you got a question, if you got a concern, cool. But, all this ruckus ain't, nah,
Mm-mm. That's a no.
that's a no. Like, I'm gonna need you to go, take this with you. And, you know,
Yep. 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 Yep.
okay. take, take that with you.
Mm-hmm. It's your parting gift.
It's a parting gift, on the house.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm a guest, but I'm a guest in your home, but you get the parting gift.
That's
That's just type person I am. You know,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
and you have a nice night.
Yeah.
Because some people try you like, and I don't, as much as I've seen it, I don't get it all the time because they're like, I don't I don't bother nobody. I don't bother anybody. I get that being quiet can bother some people, but I don't actively like try to bother folks. So I don't expect folks to actively try to bother me.
Mm-hmm.
Not accommodating to that at all. Especially if I've asked you to go away, which if I gotta send you home with a parting gift, I've already asked you.
Right. For sure. Yeah. It doesn't just start there. It doesn't just start there.
It doesn't start there. Yeah, that's the thing. It start there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
It's true. It is a progression. It is a progression.
it's a progression. Like it's a saying. If you keep campaigning for a national one, you're gonna get elected. Like
Sure.
that's how
Sure.
that's how that's
Uh-huh.
that's how it works,
That's
man. That's how it
exactly
works.
how it works.
Right? So it's like you
That's
gotta be
exactly
sure
how it works.
you gotta be sure that's what you want. Um, yeah, like it's funny because like it reminds me story time once again. It reminds me of like my cats. I grew up with two cats. Both of them were insane, but beside the point. One was very quiet. Kept to himself. Didn't friendly, but didn't really. Wasn't the most outgoing. The other one was like we got him off the street, so already he's a little messed up.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going.
Yeah, like one was always a house cat, the other one like we pretty much. Actually, we say we didn't find him. He found us because he was walking down the street. And he just popped out from under a Chevy Caprice and said, "Hey, what's happening?" Like that's how it happened. Exactly. Like you going home or what? Like that's exactly how it happened. It's like I guess he got two cats now.
Yeah,
That's how it is.
yeah.
And they got along eventually. But he was always the one like kind of starting stuff because he always wanted to play, and the other cat was like, "Nah, I'm cool." And it's like it's like every now and then, like the house cat, the one I was here first, would get tired of it, and he was like, "Look." you can just see it kind of happen. It's like, look, I told you I don't want to play around, so I'm gonna I need you to go.
Mm-hmm.
Take that with you.
Uh-huh.
And go.
Yep, because cats are good for it too.
That's a good
Cats
word.
are
That's it.
good for it.
The thing is, I'm talking about the cats because I see the same thing in humans. It's like they don't learn. Like it kept happening. It's like we were just here 2 hours ago.
Right.
We gonna try. I guess instead of this one, like take that with you and just it's like it's like
Yep. Yep. Nice morning gift for you.
it's just like okay, it's looking back on it, I kind of see just like see um apparently these behaviors transcend like species, clearly, but it can definitely be frustrating. To make the long story short, when you're not only gets accused of being disconnected, accused of being disengaged, in a sense harassed, because that's kind of how it feels. Because it's like you could have stayed over there. That's always an option.
Correct.
9 times out of 10 is usually when someone else comes to you and accuses you of being disengaged, disconnected. Like they come to you.
Right. Right. Yep.
Like I can't recall ever like going to someone and then them saying, "Oh, you're disengaged." Like, no, you came to me. Like, you could have stayed your ass over
Yeah,
there.
you could have.
Could have. And then after we've established that I'm just a quiet person, you still could have stayed there. But it's like you think something's gonna change in the next 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. It's not. Newsflash.
Yeah, and I think we're being facetious, but it really does sort of create this like cycle of like you got a quiet person here, then someone accuses you of being disconnected or shut down, and it's like, well, no, I'm not, but now that you're here, I'm not. I don't feel more outgoing. Like I don't feel like talking is not going to take me more. So you kind of withdraw even more, and then they get more frustrated and get on you more, and it's like, it's like you
Yeah.
just shut down more.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's like
Circle.
I yeah, it's just this cycle, and like the only way to break the cycle sometimes is to like break their face, but you can't do that. Yeah,
Yep.
you can't do
Stay
that.
on that
So
same old cycle.
or just so you just gotta leave,
Mm-hmm.
which again makes them think that you're really disconnected. You're literally physically disconnecting. It's like no, I'm just trying to avoid prison. Um,
I like my freedom.
I like my freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It just I don't know. It can be a hard word out here for quiet folks.
For sure. Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. And it's because it's exactly how you said, because the outside behavior looks so similar, from when you are actually just a quiet person being someone who's disconnected, you know. And the funny thing is, it's like, so you're quiet and you often get labeled as being distant, but then sometimes, when people really are disconnected, or if somebody normally isn't a quiet person, like I was saying earlier, and then something happens and then they become quiet, right? So sometimes those people are not just quiet people. Sometimes those people are now actually disconnected, right? So again, it's like knowing your audience, right? And knowing kind of what the circumstances are, because there is a difference, but again, it's the presentation that looks so similar that makes people right away just want to lump them together, but they're definitely not the same, because I feel like it's really an internal thing more so than anything, because it's all about how you're internalizing things, what you're going through, things that maybe other people don't know, so all of those things matter.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like don't put somebody in a position where they disconnect and then get upset that they're disconnected. Like
Mm.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how you get upset with somebody for falling off a ledge when you push them off a ledge? Like
Mm-hmm.
that don't make that don't make no sense, Sugarfoot. Like
And I feel like that happens a lot.
yes.
Feel like, and you know what? And that's regardless of if you are a naturally quiet person or you are not, right? Just in general, it's like people will push and push and push someone until they disconnect, and then they notice the disconnect, and now you're upset that the person is disconnected, but they're disconnected because of things that you were doing, and many times you were even told before you got to the point where the person is disconnected. Because most people do say something, or even if they say things, you see a difference in their behavior, you start to see something. There are signs that are there, but a lot of times they are ignored. And then yes, the person is disconnected, and now you mad.
Yeah. But you just kept pushing and pushing and pushing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. But if that person like exploded on you, then that would be a problem.
Right.
What I'm gonna do? We need to make a sticker for our collection. It's gonna be a fist. It's gonna say "Take that with you." We just it's gonna be one of our podcast stickers.
Uh-huh. Take that with you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I'm gonna let you go. Take that with
Take
you.
that with
Keep moving.
you. Now you go on. Enjoy.
Because I mean, in all seriousness, and I don't, not promoting violence or whatever. The fact of the matter is, like, some people have never been punched in the mouth for saying something stupid, and it shows. Like, unfortunately, sometimes that's what it takes because you have to know when to like back off. Just because someone's not pushing back or not engaging doesn't mean you push harder. Like sometimes you have to know when
Right.
when to walk away.
Correct.
Because the more you push, the more you engage, the more you talk, you run the risk of saying something that'll get your ass whooped.
Right. This is all true. This is all true.
Everybody has a limit. Even the most quiet person, they got a limit.
Right.
You may not know where that limit is. It ain't always worth finding out.
That's what I mean, it's like, do you have to know? Do you have to know? I mean, why do you feel the need to know when you push somebody past the limit? Why do you feel like you need to get there? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If you don't push so hard, if you didn't need to know that, you wouldn't have to get to take that with you.
Exactly, man. All these other folks out here, you can have a talk with.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why
Exactly.
Why you buying this person for what? Because you want them to talk? Because they're not doing what you want them to do? Like it ain't about you.
Right. This is all true.
Okay. This is just saying. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it.
Just might get it.
Why do I say that? Story time. When I was a wee lad, I was playing with a truck. Now, just for reference, I'm in my early 40s, which means so when I was young buck, I was probably 2 or 3, 4 years old. So around that time, we're talking about mid to late 80s. Around those times when people made toy trucks, They didn't make them with this cheap plastic that break in like 2 or 3 uses. They made actual trucks, like real trucks, but like they use like wood and like steel, and they lasted a while. Has some weight to them. This is important to the story. So I am playing with my very heavy truck, and some other kid wants to play with the truck. I'm playing with the truck, and I make it clear as you know in my 3-year-old way that nah, partner, playing with the truck. There's like 5 other trucks that you can play with. He wants this truck, and like we get the scrapping, little baby scrap, and I take the truck and I place it firmly on his cranium over here. Um, it made a sound. The type of sound that attracts uh adults in the room. Because when you place a heavy toy truck on someone's cranium firmly, it makes, the sound.
A hell of a thud.
Hell of a thud. I didn't understand percussion because I'm 3. But apparently, there's, if kids are playing and you hear that, and of course it didn't help that he's on a 4th crime, so that drew more attention. But that's not really part of the story. That's a result of the story. Um, he wanted the truck, gave him the truck. And I feel like that position is where a lot of folks end up because they keep pushing. And it doesn't have to get to that point.
Right.
Like it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
And I learned this at 3. I hope he learned it at 3 as well. I don't know. But take a lesson from the kid because like after he woke up, like we were cool. Took a nap afterwards. Took a nap after.
I have to.
We had, like it may or may not have been nap time after that officially, but it was definitely nap time for him. So yeah, like I think like we all ended up taking a nap just because it just seemed like a good time of the day for us to take a nap. So in a way, he's a leader. I extended him into leadership. I think. But we were cool. We had no problems after that.
Bet you didn't. Bet you didn't.
So take a lesson from myself and this young scrap. Sometimes you just need to back off and find something else to do with your time. Let quiet folks be quiet. And here's the thing. As someone who's quiet, like as someone who takes time, it takes a while for me to like engage and you kind of get the feel of wherever I am. Like once I feel comfortable, like once I know that I can kind of go at my own pace, I'm cool. Like I don't like I actually engage more. I connect more because I can do it at my own pace, and that's what folks don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said something. Someone to that effect earlier. Like if you just like leave us alone, let us take our time. We don't rush you. We don't run over to you and tell you to shut up. Like, you like give people the space and time to like be themselves and take their time. Good things happen. I think. You don't get a truck to your head. Yo, listen, Tonka did not make cheap stuff.
No.
They made quality.
No.
Them Tonka trucks, hey man, be your best friend or your worst enemy.
Yeah.
Take a pick.
My brother had Tonka trucks. Yeah, they weren't. Yeah, they're the truth.
They are. Got a couple in in my room just in case. Okay?
Yeah.
I ain't got no gun, but I got a couple of tacos for your ass.
They're gonna do some damage.
Listen, listen, man. Woo.
So I agree. All that stuff, that's for sure. I think that I mean the moral of it really honestly, and I think we say this a lot. I think we probably said this in other episodes as well. I mean, what it boils down to is, sometimes you just have to dig a little bit deeper. There can't be so much, surface level decision making or judgments about people. You know, because I think that's how a lot of introverts and quiet people and things get misunderstood. Because people don't take the time to look into something because something is not always per se wrong. And you're allowed to be who you are. We can't all be the same. We can't all walk around like Stepford wives, right? We got to have different personalities, and we got to be who it is that we are. Who you be comfortable in your skin, just like you're comfortable in your skin. Let everyone else be comfortable in theirs.
Facts. This is how we heal, folks. And the funny thing is, healing also can look like disconnection.
Absolutely.
Because there's something, yeah, particularly, I mean, really at any point in your healing journey, but particularly at the beginning, can definitely look like disconnection because you're just, in a way, disconnecting from the things that put you in a position to have to to have to get on this healing journey. You wouldn't want to be connected to the things that hurt you.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, unfortunately, what looks like disconnection oftentimes is just people setting boundaries, or like people withdrawing from the things that hurt them or caused some sort of trouble.
Protecting themselves, and which it's okay to do.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that can upset some people because they might be the reason that those boundaries or that withdrawal exists.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Very hard.
so is it really a disconnection or is it a hit to your ego?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it sucks. It's not a good feeling when someone establishes a boundary and you're the reason for the boundary, or they say, hey, we can't hang out as much as we used to, or talk as much as we used to, or at all.
Right. Right.
Uh,
Right. Right.
and here's why. Like that's I can't imagine that's ever a fun conversation.
No.
And
General
it's
isn't typically fun for most people. Any kind of change, especially if it's unwanted.
yeah, and take it one step further. We're assuming that you're going to get a conversation. Like they might just dip. And again, it may not look. It may look like disconnection, but it's not. It's just a boundary. Um, Boundaries don't necessarily mean they got to explain it to you.
No, they do not.
Because sometimes just some people are such that just talking to that person gives them some sort of hope that the door is going to be open.
Right. Right. And so
because some of y'all don't listen.
Yep. Regardless of what you're saying, yeah, I agree. I think that there are people that you can, and be crystal clear on what you're saying and making your point, and sometimes emphatically so, and still they don't hear what you're saying. Yeah, they're just sitting there. It's just like, you sound like a Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. They don't care at all what's coming out of your mouth. They're not listening to it, and or they'll try to interpret it in another way, to fit whatever their agenda is, or things like that. And so sometimes you're right. Sometimes the boundary with some people can become, I will not explain things to you. That can be the boundary. The boundary can be, I am going to remove you from my life, right? And I don't owe you an explanation as to exactly why. And I know some people don't understand that, and some people are like, because I've posted stuff on my social media before, and people are like, well, at least if you explain to the person, they know, listen, hey, listen, get out of here. All right. First of all, I don't, so I am not a person. So,
Listen, hey, listen.
no.
That's like the sign you don't piss somebody off. Like, listen,
Yeah. Mm-mm. 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 Yeah. Get out of here with that. Miss me with that. Because, you know why? Because, first of all, I will typically, I mean, if I'm going to make a change that's that drastic, I will guarantee you, even though I don't like to do a whole lot of talking and I don't like to get into that stuff, I've told you though, whatever it is that I'm going to create that boundary for, or if I'm going to walk away, whatever the situation that's surrounding it is, I've already made you aware of it. It's you that opted not to listen to what I was saying. So if you push me to the point where I have to get there, yeah, don't talk to me about, oh, you at least explain to him. Yeah, no, get out of here. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear. I've already done that. I mean, and so now my question back to you would be, and when do I stop explaining it? Or how many times do I owe someone an explanation about the same exact thing? How much of a tolerance am I supposed to have? You think it matters depending on who the person is. I don't. So, all those things are because if you're being disrespectful, if you're pushing certain things with me, um, yeah, I'm just, I've just gotten to the point in life where it doesn't matter to me who it is. I've already told you whatever it is, and I just know that I don't have to continue to deal with all of those things, and it's not healthy for me. And that's what I had to get to that place to understand that I have to make decisions at times that are healthy for me instead of always trying to put other people first. Because when do I put me first?
take that with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take that with you, homie.
Yeah. No, I listen, that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. Because, certain people, we talk about it all the time, and depending, and like some people have their sense of entitlement, and I feel like a lot of people have a sense of entitlement in this world, more so than I realized. When I was younger, I didn't realize how many people had like a sense of entitlement when it comes to so many different things in life. Not sure where it comes from all the time, but it exists.
Yeah, yeah. And you're right. Yeah, it's on so many things. It's not always these big things. It's that it can be people thinking that you owe them an explanation or something, or owe them time to do whatever, owe them time to correct a mistake or fix something. No, some things you can't come back from. Some things I'm not going to explain. That's just how it is.
That part. Yep. Gonna agree with that.
Well, topic for another day, but I think that's something that men have to come to grips with um, when it comes to their dealings with women. There's definitely sense of entitlement to a bunch of things that I've had to learn and unlearn. So yeah, you can definitely do a whole episode on that.
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, sense of entitlement is definitely a real thing.
Yeah. It's rampant out here.
Yeah.
It is very rampant. I have my own flaws. I say a lot of things. I don't really have that sense of entitlement. I never really been that kind of person where I don't feel like anybody owes me anything ever. Like whatever it is, I think that helps me get through life a little bit better too. So because that allows me to not place expectations on people. Like where some people have expectations for this person, that person. I don't have them. I don't place expectations on people. So therefore, very rarely do you have a chance to really disappoint me, right? Because, I basically let you be who you are. And I trust you to be who you are. I'm very intuitive about picking up on personalities and how people are and things. And I will accept you for, everything doesn't need to be changed. I don't think everything about every person needs to be changed because someone else doesn't like it per se. I don't care if they're a family member or someone you're in a relationship. Sometimes people just have flaws or things that you don't like, so I won't try to change them. But at the same time, depending on what it is, it's like if it's things that I can't tolerate, then I'll say that too. I don't have a problem doing those things at this point. It took me a while to get here because being a quiet person, I have a tendency, or I had a tendency to just be quiet and not verbalize those things either, and feel like you could probably see it from my actions. And I learned that that's not the case because people do not pick up on it from me. I'm like, wow. So I would think it would be pretty obvious if somebody was doing, certain things, right? Something's not right. No, it'll go right over somebody's head, So I learned to be a little bit more vocal about things like that. That's when I will come out of my quietness.
Nice. See, growth, people.
Mm-hmm. It's a process.
Listen, man.
Process.
Oh man, is it ever? And it doesn't. I don't think it ever really. It doesn't really end. Like constantly growing, which is I think is a good thing. But it's definitely not always a fun thing.
Mm-mm. No, even some of the things you realize about yourself as you're going through healing or growth and things. Sometimes I don't know anybody who's on a healing journey or has gone through some type of growth, self growth, or has evolved and has not seen some things in their self that they maybe didn't like, or maybe were surprised, or maybe didn't realize for a long time, because you definitely have to have some introspection, right? That has to happen. That's part of the process. And if you're avoiding it and you're saying you're on a healing journey or you're trying to grow, you're not doing anything. Because you gotta start here. You gotta look in here, because that's what helps you to understand what it is you need, right? And what you need to unlearn and what you're trying to grow from. And what it is that has made you feel unsafe or hurt you throughout all the time. So it's important.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Um, a big part of healing is shining the spotlight on the things that definitely need to change, things that you need to walk away from, not deal with. But sometimes that spotlight needs turned through a mirror, and that can be hard. That can be hard. When that spotlight turns to a mirror, that's when it gets really real.
Yeah, it gets really, really real. Yeah, you see some things that can make you, very, very uncomfortable, and it is hard to even people think sometimes if somebody says I'm healing, because I've heard people say before, it's like kind of as if you're placing everything over onto someone else, right? If you're saying you're healing, that's not the case though, right? Because sometimes in that healing process, right, and when you shine that mirror, that you shine that light on, and you look in that mirror, it's okay. So I did X, Y, and Z that contributed to these things as well, right? Which is something that sometimes we don't even realize, like how much we might have enabled, or we might have been, an active participant in some of those things that were unhealthy for us and unsafe for us, and I think a lot of times people have a hard time recognizing and accepting that as well, because that can be difficult.
Yeah, that's that's a dope point because you're right. Some sometimes we are the reason, or a bigger part of the reason than we want to admit.
We are.
Just because you're healing don't mean it ain't partly your fault.
That's a big one. It's a big one. It's very hard. It might sound easy. There's nothing easy about that though. It's very difficult to be like, okay, so yeah, no, that was me. Okay. You know? Um
Yeah, like just because you got to heal from a third degree burn, yes, somebody might have burned you, but you also might have put your head on a hot plate.
that's right.
You
Right.
gotta,
That's right. You might have even felt the fire before you still didn't move your
yeah,
damn hand.
yeah. Still got it, still healing,
Right?
but what you got, what you got to do with that thing.
No,
Like,
listen, this is, that was one of the things for me. I think that was a difficult thing. Like actually trying to, like when I first just started out on a healing journey and realizing, so, what is it that because it's always difficult, at times to say, okay, so what did I do? Right. I try to tell this to my kids. Like, so what could I have done differently in that situation to change the outcome? What did I contribute that maybe I didn't need to? Or, what could I have done that would make it different? So those are things I had to start looking at because again, as a naturally quiet person, I realized that not that me being quiet is a bad thing, because I'm still quiet and I'll always be quiet because that's my natural personality. But just realizing that some of my personality traits from being quiet, were contributory to some of the things that I was experiencing that I don't like. So I was like, okay, so let me figure out, so what can I do? Like how you were saying, hey, so I started doing things so that I can make things more conspicuous, right? Versus doing what you'd rather do, which is just chill, but sometimes that's the way to make the point to others so that they get
hmm
it, if they get it.
yeah. And just I'm sure just to make this an idiot proof conversation, because there's always going to be someone that's saying, well, don't be victim blaming or whatever. And it's like it's not that. It's just that sometimes, like you said, healing is not just an external process; it's an internal process. You have to be able to look inside and out. Um, it's easy or easier, I think, to find fault with things that are external to ourselves. Like we can easily identify when someone did us wrong or someone didn't go our way. Yeah, but we have to be honest and say, okay, we know what part, if any, did I play in this? Like, yes, you know, something bad happened. Okay, did I learn from it or did I perpetuate that? That's an honest question to ask.
Yeah, it's an important
You know,
question too. Yeah.
you know, you know, I we talk about this offline. one of the things that I'm trying to do is heal the way I deal and interact with women, because I would like to be married one day. But I know there's a lot about myself that I gotta change and I gotta grow up. You know, externally, I've learned that I require someone who makes space for me emotionally, because you know that's important. You can't just go around holding shit in. You need someone who creates that space for you. Internally, I also have to acknowledge that I can be very selfish with my time. I'm a quiet person. I like to spend a lot of time by myself. Like, it's hard to be with someone and be by yourself, because now you're just single with someone. Like, you don't want to make someone feel like they're alone. If they feel like they're alone, why are they with you? Like, like I have to recognize that about
Mm-hmm.
myself. It's cool to want to spend time with yourself, but you can't also like demand someone be hang around until you're ready to interact with them.
Yeah.
That's not how it
No.
works. Like, people aren't just a coat that you hang up until you're ready to wear it. So it's like it's internal and external, and it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
It's very very hard, because like, okay, well, do I just like not have any time to myself? No, you gotta find a balance. Oh, by the way, I don't know. How about you talk to the person you're with?
That helps sometimes.
That's that
It
helps sometimes.
helps.
You know, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tell the person how you feel. What you struggling with. I understand, because you know what? They actually might want some space too. But you have them thinking that there's something wrong with them instead of just being honest. That's hard. That's something that I had to come to terms with.
Mm-hmm. But
You know, yeah. And it's something that I can continue to work on. It's one of the things that I try to that I've learned, or rather tried to unlearn uh, about myself.
yeah.
So we'll see how it works out. Because again, it's learning is one thing, applying it is totally different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it is different, with the application. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that's why I say that, I make sure I always tell people, I feel like, healing is like you got to go full circle with it, so it's not just about everything that's external, but it's about the internal things too. And that's important. Internal introspection is important so that you know what you need, what you want, what makes you happy, right? Not what the expectations of you, not what your family wants, not what your significant other wants, right? But what actually makes you happy? What doesn't make you happy? What really makes you uncomfortable enough to where you feel like this might need to change to have a better effect on whatever relationships you have, whether it's a friendship, a relationship, your job, people you work with, all those things I just found to be beneficial once I started looking at that part of all of the things that transpired in my life that I felt like I needed to unlearn or heal from.
yeah, yeah, healing is definitely it's definitely a journey, and it definitely takes many twists and turns. And it's not it's not just forward. Sometimes it goes backwards a little bit, but there's a point to it all. I would like to believe. So, for the folks out there who are healing, I hope in the serious way that you take that with you.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all about it. So it's just, we just like to look at all aspects of it and, all different things. And it's always good, when you guys share anything that you have. What's helped you on your journey? What did what's something that you didn't realize in the beginning that you realized, whether it's about others or it's about yourself, because these are the things that other people need, right? To take all the little tidbits that helps all of us along our journeys. We all have picked up things from somewhere else or someone else that we've seen them doing, and you incorporate all those little things. because healing is really a necessity for a lot of people.
Yeah. More people than people want to admit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm going to agree with that 100%. 100%.
Never knowing. And like I said, healing comes in many different ways. But yes, there are definitely a lot of people who need healing, whatever that looks like. So,
Mm-hmm.
of disconnecting, I know we've not really advocated, but talk about the difference between the two. But I'm ready to disconnect and connect to some food because as we typically do, you talk through hungry and
Yeah, I am hungry myself. I was trying to think, what am I going to be snacking on?
I don't know what I'm a snack on, but I know what I'm gonna wash it down with.
I got my strawberry too. Yep,
And,
yep, yep, yep. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Bye.
and I'm definitely gonna do it. I'm gonna be moisturized.
Yeah.
Listen, you getting this money.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Come on, hit us up. Hit us up. Come on.
Yeah, I ain't proud at all. We gonna listen. Bye, Carrie. Talk to us.
We waiting.
We're waiting, okay? I cut myself earlier. Had to use some antibiotic ointment. So Carrie one, talk to your boy. We ain't like we. Listen, listen,
That's funny.
listen,
Yep.
listen, okay?
We about to get something.
You gonna get something, man. We gonna speak it into existence. We gonna work it into
That's
existence.
right. We already there.
You already there, man. Already there.
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
So, uh, thank you, Shay, as always, for a dope episode. Definitely had I enjoy our talks. Like you look up, and it's been like an hour and a half.
Yeah. 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 Our talks are always good. We have good talks even when we're offline. Sometimes we miss good stuff offline too. Mm-hmm. We do.
Our last conversation could have been like a Patreon episode, but it's like little too private for y'all. But
Yeah.
yes,
For sure. Yep.
But yes. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening.
Yes.
Check us out next episode. Like, subscribe, tell us what you like, what you didn't like. Keep it respectful. As always, watch your mouth or take that with you. Okay, that might be a title of this episode. You never know. We are going to work on a design. Might be a shirt, might be a sticker. Take that with you. So look out for that as well. It's coming. But yes, definitely follow us, subscribe to us. Join us on our podcasting journey. And as always, take your peace seriously. I'm out.